1. I believe we're live.
Oh, good. Hi.
Hey, how's it going? When did you get here?
I just flew in on the north wind.
Oh, so that's going on.
My crown keeps falling off.
There
we go. Hey, there we go. I am. Can I say it?
Go for it.
I am Bisti, the Mainframe Snow Queen. Wait, there's my Mainframe Queen shirt, and I am the Mainframe Snow Queen today, and I even have a snow wand. I don't know. It's a stick. Whatever.
It's a stick. And I got this, and I got my hat.
Yeah, you have the when Santa Claus goes to the beach outfit on today.
Exactly.
Nice.
So what are we doing here today?
I think that we're going to be helping some people figure out how to get started in Master the Mainframe and try to get more of those people that have registered to get far enough along that they feel comfortable finishing it on their own. How about that?
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
And I heard tell of some helper elves.
We have some helper elves. We created in the Master the Mainframe Slack. If you have not joined Master the Mainframe Slack, the website is ibm.biz/MTM_Slack. And that is how you can join. There's a channel in there called Live Webinar where we have some mentors lined up to help answer some questions. All you have to do is raise your hand in that channel, post a little question, and one of our mentors will start a conversation with you to help solve your problem.
Great. Yeah, so I'd just say this is we're coming up towards the end of the year. Maybe it's the end of like your school year or something like that. And it's this contest. There's plenty of documentation, material, videos to help you get through it. So if you're looking for like an additional thing to put on your resume or a thing to talk about with a job recruiter, this is definitely one of those differentiators. This is something that can lead to a 15-minute conversation that goes on after the yes, I graduated from wherever.
And I think you're so right, Jeff.
I do too.
You are always right. To just ask anybody. So I've talked to a lot of employers, and whenever they're looking for mainframe skills, they know this contest. It's crazy. There's this huge following.
Yeah, it's been around for 16 years. It's kind of a known quantity by now. And we kind of get that like this, the contest itself, there is a certain amount of a challenge to it. And that's on purpose. If we made it like a super easy thing where you just logged on and said, is this a mainframe? Yes, no. The employers wouldn't be asking us for this every year, and people wouldn't find value. But so it is possible to start the contest and get stuck on a thing. And, to some people that's frustrating. We're going to hopefully help those people out today. But, in some regards, we've heard people say, I like that I'm on my own for this. There's no Clippy is probably a dated reference now, to pop up and say like, hey, it looks like you're having help. Like there's this game, L.A. Noir. It's actually an older game, but I started playing it again this weekend. And it's like a detective crime drama type thing from like the 50s. And you start looking around for clues, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like look all around this back alley for the clues. And if you're like, don't find a clue for 8 seconds, it's like, look behind the dumpster. I was gonna get there eventually. So one of the fun things about this contest is there's so many ways to find the clues, and to know which direction to go in. So we're gonna walk you through it and talk to you a little bit about why we're going in the ways we are. So hopefully people find that interesting. And I see some questions out in the YouTube channel. This will be recorded. We're going to hit the replay button so you can watch this over again to your heart's content.
Oh, that's a great point, Jeff, is the live mentors are available during the live stream of this webinar. We do have people that are monitoring the Slack to help those people that are watching this as a replay, but it won't be right away. It will be when they're available.
Yep. And there's Ludmilla. Hey, Ludmilla.
Yes.
Cool. One of the many helper elves. This is eventually just going to drive me insane. Over
I
here.
know. My thing keeps falling off. Yeah, good times.
Great oldies. So
I don't know how the Snow Queen does it.
step one for all this stuff, obviously, we're going to start by going to masterthemainframe.com, right? Unless there's like a step 0.
Yes.
Right?
No. We should start. We should start with that.
So you're going to go masterthemainframe.com, and as you can see, there's only 14 days left to jump on this. That's still plenty of time to get through part 1, part 2, and possibly even put a dent in part 3. So
yes.
If the time is of the essence right here. So you're going to go to masterthemainframe.com. You're going to click register now. Now, I'm not going to do this because no one wants to look at my email inbox right now. But there's a series of very easy questions to answer on this type form looking thing. Like, are you 13 years of age or older? Well, let's see. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
just a little.
A little bit. And I can go through and answer all these questions, and then that's going to see if I'm eligible for the contest. Then I will get an email. I will follow the link in that email to actually get my mainframe ID. Right. So you're going to have to enter some of the same information twice. I know. Yeah. But, once you get that, you'll get your mainframe ID, and you'll get like some information on where you start. I happen to have gone through the contest a couple times now. So I have mine memorized. I'm thinking about making it my first tattoo. And so I'm going to use my mainframe ID, and I have the serial, or not the serial, the IP address all set up and stuff like that. But one of the first things that we have to do is download a 3270 console emulator. That is one of the steps. But, I only know that because one of the steps is going to send us over to this website, MTM 2019, not mybluemix.net. You'll get a nice shiny link to that. This is where you can find out about what some mainframe professionals do, as well as how to set up your workstation over here. So we have like the various pieces of software you can use. Let's talk about that for a little bit, because we assume that you're running Windows, Mac, or Linux. If there's anybody running like Solaris or HPUX or something like that, you'll have to figure something out. But if you're Windows, Mac, or Linux, there is software built specifically for each platform there. The Windows one, Tom Brennan is nice enough to let us use Vista TN3270, which is a commercial program, but he makes it available to people doing this contest because he's a big believer in it. Linux, you've got TN3270 and X3270. Those work pretty nicely. On Mac, we covered this in the last live video we did. If you upgraded your Mac to Catalina, it no longer supports 32-bit apps. And the old TN3270 app is a 32-bit app. Now, what I do want to say is that there are a couple nice programs you can try out to evaluate them on the Mac that are 64-bit compliant. They are just for evaluation purposes. So if you want to check them out and see what they're like, there's a nice one called ZOC. You have 30 days to evaluate that.
Right.
But that's just for evaluation purposes. If you really want to, if you're going to dive into this and you know you want to use it, there's another thing you're going to have to do if you've upgraded your Mac. Probably the best option for you is this thing called, it's the X3270, but it's actually a subset of that called C3270, which stands for Curses 3270. Now we have a bunch of installation instructions over here. We actually wrote a script which you can download, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Once you download this script, I'm going to hop into a terminal over here. Excuse me, just had a bunch of M&Ms. We all have our weaknesses. So the script we download is called install C3270. And you can kind of look through this and see that it's not doing anything, that you wouldn't do yourself. We have Bill Young and Clayton Slaughter who wrote this. All it does is it goes through and it installs the command line tools if you don't have them. You need those in order to do like curses and Git and stuff like that. This is not the full Xcode install, thank goodness. And if you want to use this, all you do is you have to do this as a sudo. and then use the ZSH, the Z shell, and then you are going to run the script install c3270.sh. Now I have already installed this, so this will come back and it'll probably download it. It'll try to configure it, and then it'll be like, oh yeah, this is already done. So this will probably do something in the background here. But like any good cooking show, I already have it. So I'm just going to go, yeah, it just finished over here. So I can run this command, but first let me just go back to the web browser just so we can make sure we're following the instructions, because you wouldn't know any of this unless you actually followed the instructions. So let's start with part one, because that's the first thing we're going to do here. You're going to get your contest ID. This comes in your email. And we will walk through the steps of logging into the system. Now, actually, the steps for logging into the system are in connection instructions. That's going to be different for each operating system. So I'm going to show you what we do over here. I'm using C3270. So I'm going to do, oh, I have to resize this, I think. I'm running at a big resolution here just so people can stream this without having to squint. What way am I going too wide? Am I going this way? There we go. Right, that looks nice. Looks all right. So this is the 3270 connection to the contest mainframe system. And I'm going to log in. Or log on, rather. I'm going to log on by typing logon, followed by my user ID. And I happen to know that my user ID is Z99971. And it's saying to enter my password. And again, like a good cooking show, I went ahead and I reset my password ahead of time so that we'd be seeing a lot of the same stuff that you're going to see when you log in and you're asked to reset your password.
Okay.
So I'm going to put in my password. And so this screen, all this is saying is, okay, you entered the right password. What do you want to do next? Well, this is the set of executables, or this is the login parameters I want to run. Important to note, this command thing, I have this left blank. If it's not blank, it's not the end of the world. We'll just have to fix that later. So I'm going to hit enter and log in. And it's come back and it said the current password has expired. That's because that password was set up with like an automatic expire parameter, which says the first time somebody logs in with that, you tell them to change it, because we don't want everybody out there with the same password. So I'm going to change this to a super secret password. It's not password. So right now I can see the mainframe is saying some stuff in red, which is actually fine. It's saying it's logging in, have fun. And I see this little X system at the bottom of the screen. When you see that X system, that means that the system is working on something. And just hold on for a second. When we get these 3 stars or asterisks or splats back, that means it's done saying stuff and it wants us to hit enter so that we can move on to the next thing. So I'm going to hit enter, also known as return, to move. I got this nice little map here. That. I might not have made my screen big enough. So we got this screen here. This is ISPF. Now what we've just done is gone through like a whole bunch of the first steps of part 1. So workstation preparation, we've done that. Completing part 1, let's take a look at this. So, and by the way, we're only doing the hands-on portion for the contest. There's a lot of the Master the Mainframe contest that is watching videos, looking at links online, stuff like that. Because we wanted to kind of send you all across the worldwide interwebs and get like a rounded, more holistic learning experience.
Yeah, and there's information in those videos that you have to know the answers to for the questions, right?
Right, more importantly.
So.
Yeah, and I hope you're not tired of my voice, because I'm the guy in those. So yeah, there's some very, very interesting and good videos out here. And again, if you don't want to sit here and watch this, there's this video, Master the Mainframe 2019 Part 1 walkthrough, where I do like a speed run through Part 1. Some people have said that it's actually too fast, if you can believe that.
Oh.
So that's why we're doing this. So here's the steps to finish Part 1. This is already the last step of Part 1. We've actually done a lot. We've gotten our user ID, we've connected to the system, we've changed our password. So let's see, we already did this. We logged into the system. This all looks familiar to me. Logged in. You can see that command thing is left blank here. Logged in, it said have fun, it showed us a map. We saw some stuff. All right, submit JCL to allocate Part 1 data sets. So in order to like actually run anything, we have to create some data sets. That's kind of what allocate means. So more or less, that's what this has right here. There's a portion of the operating system we're using here, which is called ZOS, called TSO, which stands for the time sharing option. We have lots of things that stand for things, and sometimes the things in those things stand for other things. It's a recursive thing, and sometimes you don't even realize when you're using an acronym. Sometimes it's a backronym even. So we don't have to worry about all that. Just know that the TSO, the time sharing option, is the thing that lets us have multiple people on the system at the same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk directly to TSO, submit. Submit says, here's a thing. I'm submitting for you a thing that I want you to work on. And then a data set. And a data set is kind of like a file, kind of like a folder. It's really just like a record of something. And a record typically has some sort of structure. So we're going to tell TSO, hey, I've got this thing for you to do. And you better do it because you're the computer and I'm the person. So we're going to type that out here. We're going to go down here and type TSO, submit. What are we typing here? ZOS.public, not punlic. Where'd my cursor go? Pub. Oh man. Public dot. First day with a new keyboard. I'm really not having a good time with these new MacBook little chiclet keys.
Aww.
I know. I'm going to blame it on that.
I'm going to buy you a steampunk keyboard for Christmas. How about that?
I've got this little Bluetooth one, but it's not that much better.
No, you need a steampunk,
I need
like old school.
A Paul Newton Model M. Yeah. You can always tell when he's not on mute. So we submit that. Now it comes back and says enter job name characters. Like what's a job name character? There's a whole reason for entering this. We're just going to go ahead and hit A. Just hit A and hit enter. Now, what it's saying right here is that this job has been submitted. Job Z99971A. Hey, that happens to be my user ID, and then that letter A stuck at the end there. And then a job number, which appears to be made up on the spot, seems somewhat unique. That's just how we can keep track of all the different jobs running at the same time. And we got those 3 dots. What does that mean? Keep going. Hit enter. Yeah. Keep going. Yes.
Oh, you wanted me to answer a question.
Yeah.
I thought that was for them. Okay, yes.
We can't hear them. I have my computer on mute.
Three dots. Hit enter.
Yep. So what is it? So this comes back here, and it's saying, are we blocking any of this? I don't think so. Okay, cool. It's saying that the job ended. The job ended with a max CC of 0000. Oh, that sounds terrible. This ended and we got a score of 0.
Ha 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 ha.
Wait, what's going on?
Hey, they should know that a condition code 0 means everything's good.
Everything's good.
Yeah.
0000 means there's absolutely no problems. If you get like an 8, that means there was a big problem. If you get a 4, that's you might want to check this out. 12 is like, yeah, definitely check this out. So we got a 0. That's good. Because if something went wrong there, that means that there's either maybe we already allocated those data sets. If you try to run this a second time, I think you get a 12. But
So you could think of a condition code as points off of the exam.
Right.
So 0 points off is a good thing, but
right.
12 points off is bad.
Forget about it. Yeah. I mean, the fact that there's 4 possible characters there,
Yeah.
But we got 0, so let's not dwell on the possible negatives.
Okay.
Let's just move ahead here. Oh, we're back here. What happened? Let's consult the instructions and find it's not going away. It's not going away. Okay, so in more or less words, yeah. Oh, okay, this is good. It's like a 404. Like if you go to a website and you get back a 404, that means like there's something wrong with the web page you're going to. If you get back a 300, that's like something might have gone wrong. So we got something back similar to this. We ran a job. We ran a job successfully. Look at that. We get to open up the next twisty. We're going to actually verify that these data sets got allocated because that's what we were trying to do. So we're going to go into this. What does ISPF stand for again? Interactive Software Productivity Facility. Wow.
Oh my God. You told me that before and I forgot already.
I'm amazed I remembered it. So ISPF, it looks very basic, but what it really gives you is speed and flexibility. People can fly through this thing faster than they can like click on things in a menu. So we want to go to the first item in here, which is utilities. I'm going to show you a little shortcut here. I believe this is actually in the instructions too. I'm going to type 3 because that's utilities, right? And then I'm going to hit enter. And now I'm at the utility selection panel. I get to pick a selection from within all those utilities. And I want to go to 4. I just happen to know that. I want to go to DS list because what I want to do is to print or display a list of data set names. Well, we want to verify those data sets got made. That's where we're going to do it. So I'm going to hit 4 and go in there. Yeah, that worked all right. Let me show you something neat. This kind of brings up another point. Your keyboard on your laptop or computer might not have function keys.
Yeah.
This one does. But my MacBook has that little touchpad thing. So if you need to hit a function key to do something, because mainframe assumes that you have like a full-size keyboard there, and you hit the function whatever key to do something, and like your volume goes up or something, or your screen gets brighter,
right,
or a song starts playing maybe, you might have to actually hold down the function key in the bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard or wherever it may be, and then hit the function key. So on my touchpad thing, those function keys only show up when I hit the actual function key. So I'm going to hit F3 to go back a screen, because in ISPF land, F3 means go back. So I'm going to do that. Look at that. I went back to the utility screen. I'm going to hit it one more time. Bang, I'm back at the main ISPF screen. Now, if I were to hit it one more time, it would throw me out, because I'm like out of that room into the lobby, out on the street. So we're going to stay in the lobby right here. So if I want to know, I want to go immediately to utilities and then right into DS list. Here's what I can do. 3.4. Now it's actually technically the same amount of keystrokes, but it throws us right into that DS list utility, the dataset list utility. So that's kind of handy.
So it's like telling it directions of how to go through the panels.
Yes. It's like saying...
On the first panel, do 3. On the next panel, do 4.
Right. It's like saying make a left and then make a right.
Yeah.
Instead of, and from if I'm at any other screen and I want to get here, I can get there by typing equals 3.4. And the equals, this is just another pro tip, says I don't care where I am right now. Just take me here regardless. So I can hit this and I'm going to go here from here. So it didn't actually do anything. Quite possibly the worst way to demonstrate that tool, that command. So we are at 3.4, the DS list utility panel. And what we're going to do is we're going to type into the DS name level field right here is our user ID. And we're going to make sure that we have a list of data sets that looks something like this. Hey, look, I already typed it in there from before. Hey, another pro tip, tab key.
Oh, yeah, the tab key. Super important.
Yes. So I always say so. The cursor in ISPF needs to be in a very specific place in order for you to be telling it certain types of information. And if your cursor is not in the right field, or you start typing in a wrong field, it'll start beeping at you and it will get very upset and it might not do what you want it to do. And I've seen this in practice, like when we've done hackathons, where people start typing and they have the right command and it's just in the wrong place, or there's like a space in the wrong place. So the way to make sure your cursor is in the right place all the time is use your tab key, because that will go through the fields where you can actually enter something. It won't let you stick your cursor where you have no business typing. So we have put in Z99971 on the DS name level. I'm going to hit return or enter. And hey, look at that. I've got these two data sets. These are the ones I was really looking for, the PDS.data and the sequential.data data sets. I say data sets. My wife says data sets.
Really?
Yeah, it might be a New England thing.
And you got married anyway?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Data sets.
I say data sets.
Yeah. I wonder if people who normally say data would say data sets.
Yeah, but how do you say kicks?
Kicks.
Versus CICS.
Kicks.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
Yes. And in the Master the Mainframe open community, we have a weekly challenge, and somebody posted a meme about ZOS. I said ZOS. Well,
that's
a big fight.
Yeah, that's an alphabet thing.
That's an alphabet thing, but yeah, post your memes. They're funny. I don't know if it's good for the community, but I'm entertained, and that's really all that matters, right?
If Misty's happy, then we're all happy. So please keep Misty happy.
I think the converse is more true. If Misty's unhappy, then everybody's miserable.
I thought that was implied. Okay, let's do some more ISPF stuff. Using ISPF to view Unix file paths and files. Now, this is an interesting one. We're jumping right into this. And it's spelled out right here. Why is there Unix in ZOS? If we were to jump into a time machine back in 60s, 70s, a little operating system called Unix, and just hit me when I go too long on this. Is it already getting too hot?
Yeah, I'm getting too hot. I'm taking off the stupid scarf, and there's feathers flying everywhere. Okay.
So a little place called Bell Laboratories was working on some amazing stuff, like fiber optic cables, telephone switching, and they needed an operating system, and they cobbled together this thing that was originally only meant for internal purposes, and it was called Unix. I don't know what that stands for right now, but
I don't know.
So we had this operating system called Unix, and it was great. And once people in the outside world found out about this thing, they're like, "Hey, that thing you've got there, it sounds pretty neat. Can we get a hold of that?" And it kind of burst out into the commercial world and the research world and the academic world, and it forked into the Berkeley Systems Design (BSD). Hold on to that for a second, and also the commercial variant of Unix. And Unix was very popular in a lot of shops. And it kind of, in a lot of them, ran alongside mainframes. It was like, oh, we got our mainframe systems and our Unix systems. And we might use the mainframe for all of our transactional data, but we use Unix systems for like something else. Well, because there were so many shops that were like, well, we have to have two systems, twice as many people. The decision was made to make a port, and I have to make sure I use the right terminology here, otherwise people get mad. People right up the hallway, actually. They're porting it's an interface to an API, I believe. So it's not an emulated operating system. It's not logging into a virtual system.
Right.
It's actually like, and it's not an emulated system. It is an interface for Unix. So you can actually run Unix commands. You can you can send files back and forth so that you don't have to do it like in the mainframe world. You can actually telnet in or SSH into a mainframe and get a shell just like you would on a Unix system. So that's why Unix lives in ZOS. And in ZOS, it's called the Unix Systems Services. And today, in a lot of the applications that you'll install and run on ZOS, there are certain USS or Unix components. It's just, well, for me personally, it's a whole lot easier to write scripts for shell or ZSH than it is in Rex. Sorry, I just never really got the handle of Rex.
Right.
Now, funny thing about that BSD thing that we put over here, that is ultimately what became the kernel of the Mac OS operating system.
Ah, okay.
Yes, which ultimately became the foundation of like Cocoa OS, which is the basis of iOS, which runs on our phones and watches and all that kind of stuff too. So when people say that like, oh, the Mac is actually Linux, technically it's not. It's a fork of BSD, and Unix is basically firewalled off of the rest of. I'm going on too long here.
Yeah. So just to make sure I'm clear,
yes,
I want to make sure I know this stuff, even though I've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
I still get stuff wrong. So Unix System Services is all about taking your applications that would run on Unix on another platform and then being able to run it on the mainframe using mainframe data without having to change it too much?
Without having to change it too much. So if
right.
I have a script that I've really worked out really well with like set and awk and cats and all that kind of stuff to
right.
like slice some data and stuff like that, that will more than likely run. If it's a program that uses like compiled languages behind the scenes and stuff like that,
right.
probably not as much. But I like being able to drop into here and just, banging out like a single line of chain together commands. So that's kind of what we're going to do here.
So there's a lot of different ways to get access to mainframe services and mainframe data. You don't have to be an expert in COBOL or assembler or TSO, ISPF right. panels.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways to do it.
In fact, there's people doing analytics, data science work on ZOS who have never logged into ISPF. They have just used the USS components of it.
Nice.
And it's actually kind of, okay, give me 1 more minute on this kind of thing. Because you have like so many ways to get to Unix stuff within, on a mainframe. I mean, on an IBM Z15 or whatever system, you've got the USS stuff. You can run Linux as an LPAR. You can run Linux under VM. You
right.
can run Linux within a container under ZOS. So the idea of like, oh my, we can actually run Unix within Z is like, well, yeah, now there's like 18 different ways to do it. Anyway, let's move along here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're exhausted. Me too. We're gonna do something very similar to look at those files. So let's go into that 3.4 utility, like we are right here. We're gonna go back a level. And we're going to change this up a little bit. And now it's very tempting for me just to left click and jump right there. But I want to be a good example. I use my tab key. And I'm going to go to /Z/Z99971. Thank you, Ludmilla. So now I have a same directory or same tool, different directory, and I get a completely different output, well, because I'm looking at a different place. But the output here is for a Unix directory list, and this is a Unix directory because I put slashes in here. Did I even spell that right? 99971. Okay, yeah, I guess our UIDs are different. So I have 2 files, hello and P1. All right, and there's a .sh file, .sh history file in there as well. That's an invisible file, so we don't count it. Now, if we want to get back to the main menu, we have a couple ways we can get there. I can either keep hitting F3, or I can type return. The instructions say to do return, so I'm going to do that. Return. Here we are back at ISPF home. Let's see what else the instructions have us doing. So what we did there is we just took a look inside a Unix file, Unix directory. Enter U on the option command line as shown to bring up a Unix shell. Now, I saw situations where that did not work. And that is because somebody logged out and then came back in without executing their logon prompt or logon utility. So if you type U and it says, I don't know what command that is, I believe you can type OMVS space TSO and it'll work, or just log out and log back in and make sure all those fields are filled in. It worked for us though. So we hit U, we got into a Unix shell. Hey, this is Unix. I know this. Jurassic Park, 1992. So I can type a command like ls, and I see those same files that I did when I was in the DS list utility. I can do a cat of P1, and I can find out what's in there. It looks like some information. Hey, it's probably from the last time we did this. So let's remove that. I'm going to do an rm P1, remove P1. Okay, nothing up our sleeves. This
Yeah.
is a long sleeve shirt. Isn't that crazy?
That you wear to the beach.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about.
No, we don't.
Yeah. Okay.
I hope to be a little bit tanner in about a week. So-
Not with that shirt on.
One of the many commands we can type is date. Let's see what happens here. Oh, look, it's the date. It's Monday, December 16th, 1:36, because the system's in Dallas, Central Standard Time, 2019. Look at that. So that's right. What we're going to do now is we're going to type date and then greater than, which I can remember because that's the alligator going after the greater thing, P1. What's happening here? This is crazy. So we're going to take that same command, and instead of having the output come right to the screen, we're going to direct that into a file. And if that file doesn't exist, we're going to make it. Bang. That's all that does. Okay. All right. Everything looks good. We're going to run that cat command again. Cat is short for concatenate. Cat P1. And in Unix terms, that basically just means take whatever's in there and spit it out to the screen.
Which I never understood why they used the word concatenate for that.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
I think you can actually string together like multiple things and then have the last one be the thing where it's going to. It should just be like out or show or something like that.
Right?
I mean, there's also there's more and less.
Programmers have to make things hard.
Exactly. Plus, this before there was the internet, there was cat.
Yeah, that's true.
So what we're going to do right now is copy this P1 command from the Unix side of things. Where am I on the screen here? The Unix side of things over to the ZOS dataset side of things with this command. Now, there's a lot of control characters in here. That's to give us like a safe escape from the Unix land. Copy P1 single quote / pds.data or data, and then hit enter. We getting good feedback in the Slack channel, Misty?
Actually, nobody's really asked questions yet. Brahim Bubekir, if I pronounced that properly, said that he was stuck on challenge 12 and he asked for help, but he hasn't posted the information yet. But
we probably won't get to challenge 12.
no, but there are live mentors that
Helper elves.
Yeah, helper elves. Oh, sorry, helper elves.
Helper elves.
I gotta stick to the theme, Misty. Helper elves standing by to take your call.
So what we made that file. You copied it over there. And if we follow the pattern of what we've been doing, we want to trust but verify, right? Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that it's actually there. So we're going to do a cat of the PDS data, the partitioned data set, just like this. We should get back the exact same information that we stuck in there. And note that that's not the current date, but that's the data that we stuck in there from before. So this just shows that we have ZOS, we have Unix, we can copy files between them, and everything is copacetic, and everything looks exactly as you would expect. So we've got all that same information. Yep. Right. And just to be completely complete, to get out of here, we're going to go to exit. I'm going to speed through this because we already know the files out there. But if we go back into this Unix directory with 3.4, and we find this pds.data. Oh, I guess we're looking over here. Yeah, here's P1. We can do an E on that for edit. No. What do we want to browse? Select? There's so many things we can do. We can do a select. Let's see, that's there. We can also go into the PDS view and go Z99971, space out the rest. And in our PDS data, we'll edit that. Because remember, that's where we copied it into. Here's our P1. We will browse that. And here it is. So everything is the same. We can copy back and forth. We've done some stuff in USS. And if we want to get back to the main screen, you already know this. We hit return. All right, get credit for completing part 1. So we have all those videos and helpful information out there in part 1.
Right.
And it might take you like half an hour to get through them. But people have gone through like part 1 of Master the Mainframe and said, yeah, I did all the stuff, but I didn't really understand what I was logged into or what I was doing. So hopefully these will help you. And I think we had a lot of fun doing this last time. So what we're going to do is we're going to type this command. We're going to TSO P1 quiz. And this is going to ask us a couple questions. I'm going to ask you some questions. I want them answered whenever you get to it. These are all questions that you can answer if you did part 1, if you looked at all the information in part 1 of the contest. I'm going to be super sneaky. This worked last time. I'm going to slide my display down here so you can't quite see what I'm entering. What size rack does the newest mainframe live in? Well, you know, it's such a powerful machine. It must have a really big, it must be huge. Must be huge. I caught myself there.
Huge.
So I know what it is, so I'm gonna put that in there. And I believe I have to hit enter a second time to say, is this the correct answer? Yeah. Question 2, what specific specialty engines will you find on a modern mainframe? Fun thing about a mainframe is it's not just a box jam full of processors. There's processors that do specific things. Like there's this system assist processors that do like shuffling data between all the I/O cards and stuff like that, because you don't want your main CPUs using all their cycles doing like behind the scenes work, you know. So we got SAPs, ZIPs, and ACPs, ZIPs, WRs, and SAPs, IFLs, ICFs, and ZIPs, and ICF, SAP, and WKRPs.
In Cincinnati.
In Cincinnati.
Not that that's a hint on whether or not that's the right answer.
It would be, I mean, we've had odder acronyms. Question 3 of 11, the mainframe is unique in that it has a large amount of what in one place. This is where Uncle Jeff will give you this piece of advice for taking tests. If you see a thing that says all of these answers are correct, well, let's just...
I have been caught on that. I have been caught on that before. But it is...
Okay, a corollary to Uncle Jeff's rule for multiple choice questions where one of the answers is all of the above. If one of them is really stupid...
Right.
Then one of them is a little slightly less stupid.
The other hint is if your instructor, your educator is a psychopath, yeah, then I would not select all of the above because they're out there to get you.
Or if there's one where it's like A and C, all but not B,
yes.
Or one of those ones that you need like a map to figure it out.
All right, what does Esmeralda tell us?
Esmeralda tells us that the mainframe needs another computer within its frame to do what? This one I thought was pretty tricky, actually. Because so it doesn't get lonely is a pretty good answer, but I don't think that'll get you very far if you pick that. Question 5 of 11 in the big green server consolidation section, the linked red book, which is a pretty interesting read, actually. An effort to migrate 3,900 servers onto 30 IBM mainframes. Using mainframes instead of servers, they're able to use what percentage less energy?
Right.
I think I know this one.
I have to tell you, any percentage less energy is so important nowadays.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, how many times do I have to read in the newspaper about Bitcoin mining just causing major drains on the power infrastructure?
Piyush, you are correct. This quiz was written in Rex. Because if it works and it scales, why not?
Why not?
Our friend Jay Brenneman often talks about the $1 million server. Once you've maxed out every single rack in your data center, and someone says, we need one more server to run this one more project. Well, we can't fit it on the existing servers we have. Okay, so we need another one. Well, we need to put that in another rack. Okay, bring in another rack. Well, that rack, all of our power panels are already at capacity.
Right.
So we need to bring in another power panel for that. Okay, well, we called up the power company. They said they're not going to give us any more because we're already at capacity. And you end up with this one server that is going to be responsible for millions and millions and millions of dollars of infrastructure updating.
Right.
So being able to virtualize all these things, and more importantly, it's not just virtualizing, but overcommitting. I can't really...
Oh my gosh.
The overcommitting thing, it sounds bad when you say I'm overcommitting. You never want to overcommit in your real life.
Or on the airlines.
Yes, or that too. Overcommitting on hardware, yeah. Overcommitting on hardware means I have, well, let's say 50 real actual processors available to me. And each server that I have needs 4 processors. It needs 4 processors like 15% of the time.
Right.
But it's going to ask for 4 because, I want to have those 4 all the time. Overcommitting basically says, yeah, here's 4 processors.
Quote.
But I'm actually sharing those 50 among
100 processors.
I forget my math, whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, I can tell a logical server that it has a certain amount of resources, even though it doesn't have them all the time.
Right.
Which is great because if I wanted 100 servers, each one of them with 4 processors, I would need 400 servers. Did I do that right? I forget what numbers I said.
Yeah, I
Whatever the math works out to, I need a whole lot more. But when
Right.
you do virtualization, either on the hardware or with something like ZVM,
Right.
you get to just kind of smear it across all of them, and they're all pretty much happy, unless everyone's going 100%, which they never are.
So I used to work in the CRITSIT office, which stands for critical situation, where customers that are really, really upset get somebody to help them. And this customer complained all the way to top management because their utilization of their server went from 99% to 98%.
Right.
They
Not getting my money's worth.
They like to run it at 99 or 100% utilization, which you would never, ever do on any other server, but
Never.
we can handle it. It's crazy.
Oh, that's great.
To the point where they expect it and they are disappointed with 98%.
Question 6 of 11. In the virtualization video, the unused resources on servers are referred to as... Oh, that was a short one. Somebody might pause that one and go back. Let's do the Men in Black memory wipe thing. Question 711 in the Schneider Electric calculation tool. This is kind of an interesting tool. This is a company that builds and designs and helps implement raised floor data centers. So basically, this is a tool for you to go out and say, I have this many servers, I have this many storage devices, this much networking equipment. Tell me how much power I need, roughly. And you get to go out there and say, like, I have 8,000 servers. I have 2 mainframes. And you can actually do some trading out. If I were to replace, what do we say here? If I take 500 servers and stick them on a mainframe, replace 500 physical servers with a mainframe, which is very easy to do. We just talked about doing that in a previous thing.
Yeah.
Between running it as an LPAR, as a VM guest, or as a Docker, container for those types of solutions. What happens here? And again, nothing, it stays flat. There's also an option here for it increases, which would be a very odd answer for us to put on here.
Yeah, we're not going to be putting any of the bad stuff in this quiz.
No.
Just all good stuff.
So decreases from this to this, I believe. Yeah. So, really big number. And when you think about a mainframe, you think about something that uses just like an impossible amount of energy. And compared to like a Raspberry Pi, yeah, it uses a lot of energy. But when you start stacking up servers in a rack, that's when anybody who has worked in a data center will tell you, yeah, mainframe is quite a bit cheaper.
Very efficient.
Very efficient. Question 8 of 11, what operating system does not currently run on the mainframe? Sadly, well, you can see that one. Question 9 of 11, ZVM does not need to run on another operating system to provide virtualization. So it can be referred to as a type what hypervisor. ZVM is another operating system. The VM stands for virtual machine, and it's been doing it for a long time now. We actually recently did a Terminal Talk podcast about ZVM security with Brian Hugenbrook. Hugenbrook. So ZVM is a fascinating, amazing operating system. It does virtualization like nothing else in the world, and you should check it out.
You got to go down, otherwise we're going to see it.
Nope.
See, now I'm watching out for you.
Question 10 of 11. Which of the following is not an example of middleware? I got that. You got that. You got that. Oh, I'm going to go 11 for 11 here. I think last time I missed 2. That was embarrassing. Which transaction manager did the 17-year-old Vanderwall twins use to build their custom end-to-end solution? Oh, yes. Is it JCVD, TPF, IMS, or CICS?
Oh, you did that on purpose.
I did. It would be weird if I said,
KX.
So I'm going to... Oh, wait. I entered the wrong one because it was fun. No, wait.
What'd you do?
Which transaction? Oh, I tricked myself there. Oh, I think it was... Oh. I jinxed myself by saying I was going to go 11 for 11. That is all it takes to finish part 1 of Master the Mainframe. Part 2 is waiting for us. Let's do it. So we are now at the bottom of the screen here. We've got about half an hour left. We've got 32 people watching.
Yay!
We've got 15 likes. Hey, hit like and subscribe.
Donate to my SoundCloud, which I don't have. But if somebody wants to donate to me, then I will make a SoundCloud.
That would be a...
I would have to learn what SoundCloud is first.
I've got $1.
I'll take it.
All right. Background, congratulations. Now, I really want to show parts 1, 2, and 3 here because I've seen people get hung up on this because this is where we change the instructions up from like, type this, you should see this, type this, you should see this, to where it's a little bit more like we're describing the problem, telling you what you need to do. And if you're looking for like the exact command to type in, you might not find it. And if you have gotten to a part where you try to copy the output of a job into the part 2 data sets, and it comes back and says part 2 data sets ain't there, it's because you didn't do this step in part 1. So let's do that. That's getting a little itchy. Quick twisty TV reminder. Hey, look at that. Okay, the basics. It's a powerful computer. We all know that. We're running the ZOS operating system. That's the flagship operating system. There's a video where we talk about all the other operating systems. There's ZVSE. There's ZTPF. There's Linux. There's ZVM. Did I miss any of them?
You said VSE?
Yes, I did. I think that was the first one I said because I
forgot
it last time.
That's the one everybody always forgets.
Who could get VSE? Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yep. And the fun, here's what people don't really know about or think about mainframe a lot is there's this thing called an LPAR, a logical partition. So you're running, it's not like you just load up one gigantic operating system and like the mainframe is starting up and it sounds like, a ship engine going, like I'm starting my operating system now.
Right.
I can run all these different operating systems at all these different times, all doing all sorts of different things. And they are considered by the government to be separate machines. So I could run like 2 competing companies. I wouldn't do this, but I could run 2 competing companies on the same physical piece of hardware in different LPARs. They would have no method of interfering with each other that 2 systems next to each other wouldn't have.
Right.
And I think Brian Hugenbrook pointed out when we interviewed him on Terminal Talk, the Mainframe podcast, he actually prefers, for a security standpoint, he prefers virtualized systems for security as opposed to air-gapped machines. Because if you have 2 machines which are logically configured to not interfere with one another, there's stuff that keeps them from talking to each other. What's between air-gapped systems?
Cables.
Air. Right? And what can happen between those systems? People can walk a cable between them.
Right.
And now they're connected.
Right.
Now they're so air gapped. Okay, great.
I see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. You were there with the cables, but
I jumped way ahead to the
way ahead.
line.
Yeah, I mean you're right there.
Yeah. And we didn't plan that in advance.
Clearly. Classic components are available to interact with ZOS and will always be available. So if you're wondering why we're using this this console, it's because it always works and it always looks the same for everybody connecting. And we can actually have, thousands of people logged into the same system at the same time. And that physical system is like, what? Are there hundreds of people on me? I didn't even notice. If we were to do like a graphical thing, there are ways of doing graphical things. It takes a little more horsepower. We're still figuring this out. But for this year, for right now, we're using a console. A couple more things to find in here. I want to get moving. Okay, so we're going to learn about TSO, the time sharing option that we talked a little bit about. Here's some stuff about it. It's a full screen interface. It has a command line interface as well. A bunch of stuff. Blah, blah, blah. So we're going to access the TSO ready prompt. And a ready prompt is like it's like when you log into DOS or a Linux command line. It's just, it's not a menu-driven thing. It's a command line-driven thing. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do a couple things right here. We're going to follow the instructions. We're going to type... I don't think this will actually do anything because I don't think I made my screen big enough. I'm going to type pf show off. If I turn it on, okay. I already turned it off last night. I forgot to turn it back on. I've done that with like lights and stuff. My wife yells at me. So if we have pf show on, that reminds us what all of our function keys do down here at the bottom. Like I said, F3 is exit. F7 and F8, that's how we scroll forward and backward. Mm-hmm. F9 does a cool swappy thingy. You should try that out.
You have to do the split first.
Yep, good call.
Yeah.
But, if I already have those memorized or whatever, or I just want more room on my screen, I'm going to do pf show off. Bang. So what I want to do right now is I'm going to type X. And X is going to get me to the logon, the TSO logon screen. If you type X and it logs you out completely, it's because you have a command typed onto your TSO profile thing. When you type in your password, which says log off, and you need to go back into that and just type over that, blank it out. So I'm going to type X. I'm going to hit enter. I get this screen. I have no desire to print anything out.
We should explain really quick what that means, though.
What?
The SPF logs.
Okay, go for it.
So everything that you're doing in the mainframe is being recorded in a log, and
for customer service purposes.
Right. So if you run into an issue and you need to save it so you can put it into a problem report, if you're in a tightly controlled customer, like let's say a bank or a government agency, and they want to record everything that every user does on the system, you may want to save that stuff. You're not doing anything like that, so we're just going to delete everything.
Yep. Nicely said.
Thank you.
So we are going to delete this with a 2. And I never actually even read all this. I've just always typed 2 because nothing I do is very important. Type 2, hit enter. It says it has been deleted. And most importantly, it says ready. It says ready. It's ready. Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
Upon successful termination of ISPF, a TSO ready prompt appears. And it's a kind of an important distinction here. We're out of ISPF. We're still in TSO. ISPF runs underneath TSO. It's a utility. So now this is the part that people always forget to do, or they miss it for some reason. And it's because this is the list of things we're going to do. And then down here, it's showing it doing it. And I think sometimes people follow one but not the other, or they try to do both or something like that. Enter the TSO commands shown in the screenshots below to complete the challenge. So we're just going to follow what these are saying to do. We're going to type time. I bet that's going to say what time it is. It does. Oh, it's almost 2 o'clock. That means it's almost 3 o'clock here. Wow. All right.
Right.
Netstat home. And I know this is going to print out like the IP address of this system. And it's a 192.86. That's kind of neat. And then we get list C. Well, I know what that's like. That's like a list catalog, right? That's like a look around here. So this is a listing of our catalogs and data sets. Get ready. Now, this is the part that people forget. We're going to type submit zos.public JCL. I'm getting better with the typing fingers. part 2, enter. Enter job name characters. Let's just go with A again. It's submitted. It's ready. It's back. So remember before we only had like a couple files out there.
Right.
Let's do that list C and see what we got now. Oh, look at all the new ones. It's like Christmas came early.
Yeah.
Does everybody like our
like.
hats? If you like our hats,
my hat that keeps falling in my face.
can you explain how to use TSO score V2? I don't understand how to view my status. Oh, can somebody help Mad McGee with that? Oh, I think I just show. Oh no, don't break. There we are. Okay. Somebody's way ahead of us, but they'd like some help, so someone please help Mad McGee out there. We're going to go back into ISPF. Now, I believe this, if somebody goes back into ISPF here, this might be where they get that going straight to Unix error. Anyway, we're just going to follow the instructions. PF show on. Okay, look at that. DS list p2.output. This is important. There it is. And we're going to use our tab key. Move our cursor right next to that. And we're going to type B for browse. And there's a difference between like browse and edit and select and all these other things. Until you become a ninja, just type what it says. And we got all these different members in here. This is what oh nice. This is what people were trying to send their data, their output to, and were having trouble with before. So these are all here. That's great.
So Piyush Yadav has a question.
Yes.
List C shows PDS with qualifier as RID only. So can you use list C? I think the question means, can you use list C to show other types of data sets or just the ones that have your ID as the high-level qualifier?
That's a good question. I mean, you can use list C to show anything that you have access to. There's some stuff that you're fenced off to where you can like only run it. There's some stuff where you can only see it. I believe, let's see, with qualifier as your ID only. Let's find out. So if I wanted to go, I know what you're saying. If I wanted to go list C, will that even work from here? I'm going to make myself look silly. Will that even work? No. If I did that from the TSO command, I know this was discussed in like a Reddit chat the other day.
Can I list C sys1? Sys1 or the system data sets?
I mean, if I wanted to go, if I can... I think the question is if I want to do it from TSO. Let's see. Ooh, okay.
Donix.
Let's see. Is P1 or sys1?
Yeah, sys1.
Oh no.
What'd you do?
It looks like it is only. There must be a way, but I mean, I bet if we typed. I bet if we went into the instructions, we could find that out. But we're not going to do that right now. That's a good question. Why don't you try that out and get back to us?
Yeah, I think that's something we'll figure out.
There must be a way, but I know most people just do it through ISPF anyway.
Yeah. There
must be a way though. So we got our stuff there. Let's see, DS list p2.output. We did that. Oh, no, we got to go here. DS list. Isn't that what we just tried to do? So yeah, it seems like it's based off of our user directory, our user data set. This is what we already did. We're going to browse into there. We're going to select number 1. Incomplete. Wait, what did we do wrong? Oh no. What did I do wrong? Submit part 2. We did that.
Let's see. Ah.
Oh no, I have fallen into a trap.
Uh-oh.
This is the output that we had from before. Did I follow the wrong thing?
So one of the values of a live event is we get to show you the things not to do as well as the things to do.
Exactly.
And Bill P is so fast, he already sent me directly to the command reference guide for TSO on the list cat command.
Oh, nice. Nice. And
I think the difference is that we have to specify which catalog, whereas you were using just the default
the default one. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. What I would imagine we want to do here is we have our output, dslist p2.output. What generated our p2.output, though? Oh, man, I wish I didn't delete this last night. Left side here. All right, let's try this again. Delete dataset. Okay, let's go back here. Just go equals x, pop out of here. I'm going to type time. Netstat home. List C. We've already submitted that, so I don't want to run it again. List C. Oh, there we are. That's what I messed up. Hey, I didn't follow instructions.
What is the number? You need to make it submit with one M. What is the number one thing that we tell people? Oh, yeah, that's a good point. There's no backspace delete key on mainframes like you're used to. You need type over. And what's the number one tip we have for people doing Master the Mainframe?
Use the tab key.
Tab key is number 2.
Okay.
Number 1 is read carefully.
Read carefully. See? Enter job and characters. Submitted. Okay. So that is run. We're going to go back into ISPF. And hopefully this still checks out for me, even though I didn't do the step in the right order. So let's dslist p2.output. Whoops. Yeah, nobody saw that. And we're going to select this. Oh, look at that. We got some output there.
Yay!
All right. Yay. That looks a lot like that. So let's do challenge 2 next. SDSF. SDSF is the facility. It's like search system display search facility, and it's where all the output goes for our jobs, and we can look at basically how things are progressing and look at the output of jobs and stuff in there. So it's another panel-driven interface. We get there by
system display and search facility.
System
so close.
display and
so
search.
Close.
I believe it's SD on here. Equals SD. So I'm getting ahead of myself. We can get there. If we type return, we go back to the main screen. We can get there by typing SD for SDSF. We can also get there from any other screen by typing equals SD. So let's just get in the habit of doing that. Anytime you see this license materials thing popped up here, just hit enter, and that'll get rid of that. So there's a lot of stuff we can look at in here, and interesting stuff like enclaves and NQs, system logs, job requests. We're going to spend a lot of our time in ST, status of jobs, and this is also where we can find a lot of the outputs. Output queue is out here. So let's see what we're going to do in here. Useful information about SDSF. There's our man, Paul Newton, floating around like a ghost, who's ready to tell us all about SDSF. If you want to know more, that's a great video to watch. I'm looking at my watch and I'm saying, man, we gotta get moving here.
Yeah.
SDSF. What are we going to do here? We're going to go into SD. We already did that. Now look at this. Look at this mamma jamma of a command right here.
That is mamma jamma, which is actually a word I'm going to start using because it's super cool.
Yeah, and it's almost like cursing, but it isn't.
It's not
Prefix
at all.
space splat. And now,
Is that a semicolon or a colon?
it really looks like a colon here, but I know it's a semicolon.
Oh.
No, do I? Or do I?
Looks
It's a
like...
semicolon. It must have gotten cut off at the printing press.
Oh.
Look at that up here. It's a semicolon.
Wow.
Yeah. So prefix splat, owner Z99971, ST. Now this is three commands in one we're doing right here. We're just chaining them one after the other. It's like, just do this. Don't even bother showing me that you're done with that until you're done with all of this. What I'm saying is set the prefix to everything. If I am running a series of jobs and you're running a series of jobs and I'm tired of looking at your job output in my thing, I can be like prefix Jeff Splat and only show everything that starts out with Jeff Splat.
Right.
And Siri thought I was talking to her. It's always creepy. And then only show me stuff with the prefix of everything. In this case, I want it to be shown everything. The owner of me.
But only the owner of you.
Only the owner of me. And then show me the status of all that stuff. So I'm setting the name scope to everything, the owner scope to me, and then show me the status.
You know what's really nice about these chained commands?
What's that?
Is if there's a series of commands that you do often, you can just type them once and save them on a little notepad, and you can just cut and paste, and you're good to go.
Yep, Notepad or Atom, that's your best friend. So I'm going to hit that. Look, I got all these jobs out here. Look at them all. Jobs, jobs, jobs. We got execution, print. I think I've got 3 in print and 1 in execution, which makes sense because I'm logged in and doing stuff right now. So it's kind of like, the world needs to exist for you to stand on it. That's what we're doing right there. What are we going to do right now? Hey, look, I almost missed doing this. Look at that.
What's the number one rule?
Read everything that Paul wrote.
Yeah, read carefully.
Submit zos.public.jcl pgm01a to submit a background job to be processed. So we're going to submit that, enter a job name and character. It's saying to enter C. So let's do that. Submitted. Completed with a max condition code of 0. It's a beautiful thing. All right. So now we're back here. Here's what I want you to take a look at. Check this out. We've got all of our job names that are running right here. This one is the one in execution. And it's the world. Like, you're my world, bro. So it's running. Then we've got all these other ones. Remember when we hit A? I don't know those times we hit A. That's all these. Remember that one time, like 20 seconds ago when I hit C?
Right, that's that one.
That's that one right there.
So the first one that's highlighted in white is active now, and that's you breathing. And the first one is you jumping, and the second one is you raising your right arm, and right. So that one will always be in white because it's always executing, and if it's not, you're dead and you're not breathing.
Yeah. So if you're ever doing if you're ever on like a Unix system or something like that, and you just start randomly killing threads, and all of a sudden you're kicked out of the system, it's because you zapped the world. So let's put a question mark next to that one. Here's another thing we can do. And that gets us a level deeper. What we're seeing right here are all the different types of outputs that a job can generate. It's not just I run the thing and it spits stuff out. There's an error log. There is a JES message log. There's a print log. There's a system out log. And that's because, like Misty was saying, if you're in a bank, anything that gets run, everything needs to get recorded.
Right.
Everything. So we want to make sure that every type of output has a home. So we have all these different types of outputs. If we want to look at the system output, I'm going to use the tab key, like good boy, because I want to get presence. I'm going to put my S next to the sysout. And look at this. We have some output here. This is interesting. Not sure what all this is about. So we're looking at all that. That's cute. I'm going to hit function F3 to go back. And the next thing we want to do is we want to use XDC. XDC, I don't even know what that stands for. Cross
Not a
Data.
band.
It's a
XTC.
Oh yeah, XTC. That's a good reference.
Yeah.
But there's also a comic X.
Oh yeah.
XTC.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the real one is now. Somebody in the comments, please.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to type XDC next to that. And XDC is a way of sending job output primarily somewhere else. And it brings up this thing right here, which is basically asking where do we want to send it. So we have 3 things we need to fill out here, as you can see on the left and on the right. So the data set name we want to use, typically members go into data sets. So you can almost think of this, but don't, as a file going into a folder. But don't because they're different. But a member is associated with a data set.
Yes.
Is what I'm saying. So we're going to do p2.output for that one. We're going to type #02, number 02. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Now we want to set the disposition. This is a old new share mod. So what this is saying is we have 4 different ways that we can make a new member. Old, new, share, mod. Old says this should already exist. New says this shouldn't exist, so make a new one. Can't remember what the difference is between that and share. I'm drawing a blank. This is embarrassing. But mod is basically the safest one, which basically says if it's there, use it. If not, make one. So we're going to do share.
Right.
For whatever reason, we're going to pick share. Does he talk about why he does share? Anyway, we're going to hit that.
Because we always use share, that's why.
Because we always share.
It's
Sharing,
pretty much...
because sharing is caring. Nobody is correcting me in the chat, so I'm just going to go with that. The previous upper right says print closed and the action is complete. Did it do that? I didn't see that. Enter end or press F3 to see the job names in the SDSF status. Okay, let's do that. So now we're going to purge these guys. I'm going to do that with a little P next to ABC. P. Get rid of those. And hopefully that thing did what it was supposed to. Share for PDS. Accessing data sets you don't want to block for others to... Oh, that's right. That's right. Yep. As usual, Bill says it best. Cool. So we got rid of those. Now we're going to pop back over to DSList utility. So how are we going to do that? Equals 3.4. We're in the home stretch. We got 10 minutes here. Let's look in our... Oh, we want to look in the p2.output. C9971 dot p2.output. We're going to browse that. Oh, I hope this is in here. And we should have sent that to number 2, I believe.
That's what I saw you say.
There it is. So what we did was we took the output from that job and we stuck it in a new data set. Return. I don't know why we have 2 there. This logs us out, I guess, all the way. I kind of don't want to do that, but let's do it. Let's pop us back out. And we can go back in if we really want to. Should we take a quick look at number 3? We got 10 minutes.
We got 10 minutes. Let's take a quick look.
All right. We're going to learn some basics of ISPF. Use the ISPF to copy a member. Okay. All right. This is good stuff. This is very helpful. Go back into ISPF. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
I love having him around.
Bill is the best.
He's the best.
Bill is the best.
Bill
there,
is
it's
the
recorded.
For all 30 people.
And the replays.
And the replays. Let's go back into Z9971. Look over here. So now we got all this stuff. You got this PDS.data, right? So this is not saying command enter / to select action. What this is saying is there's this whole section over here where we can enter commands. And this is kind of a unique way that ISPF handles entering commands, because some of these are going to be block commands. I might start a command here and replicate it all the way down to here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do on a PDS.data copy / and what that means is copy. COs to copy / tells the system to use the data set on that line. So instead of typing it out, we're just saying copy this. And it's going to ask us to select which member within the data set. And we want to copy fun, because, I mean, who doesn't? Select. And you can't copy something without saying where you want it copied to. And look at this. Oh, I see a pattern going here. We're going to copy this into p2.output. Oh, and I'm purposely going to leave something off here because I'm not reading. Watch this. I've seen a lot of people fall into this too. Yeah. So, you might have remembered from before that there already is a number 3 out there.
Right.
And I've seen people get to the screen again and again and again, and they keep entering this, and it keeps saying either it's done or completed or whatever, and it doesn't get updated.
Right.
And you look at all the fields. You say, I type p2.output. I typed number 3.
Right.
It's just not going. And then you walk over and you try not to do this too gleefully because they get really upset. And you point to this thing right here.
Or the instructions further up surrounded by lots of stars.
Yes.
Which goes back to...
Read everything.
Carefully.
You need to replace named members. Otherwise, it'll say, whoa, there's already a member out here with that name. I'm not going to rewrite that. I'm not going to replace it. So I'm going to gently use my tab key. Put a little / there. And now I'm going to... Did I select the right disposition? Yeah. I guess that's the right thing. Something happened.
You said you replaced. The prompt means what it did.
Yep.
And it shows that it copied something. So
let's go check. I'm not even going to wait for it to
There's
tell me.
a little twisty that tells read the directions carefully.
So I can type. Okay, let's do it.
It has you going. You jumped ahead.
I jumped ahead because I'm like a kid at Christmas. I can't wait.
Yeah. So there's many ways to get there, is what we're saying.
p2.output.
So.
Oh.
You need to do your high-level qualifier.
Oh, man, the suspense.
Is it there?
The suspense. Well, it's going to be there either way. But look at this.
Oh.
Look at this. This is a pretty good hint that it was just replaced.
Yep. By IBM user.
That's me. I certainly am an IBM user. Whoa! Look at that crazy thing. Is that the right thing?
Yeah, and... Do you know the FT wall word below?
Below? What's below? Let me use the function F8 to scroll down.
Oh.
And that's a little Paul Newton reference for you right there. Something for you to look up on the Wikipedia or something like that. But if you see this, you're like wall word below, FD wall word below, and that's one of those other function keys. And you can see F7 for 8. F8 for down, so F8 for down. Congratulations, you are done with Challenge 03 and you're ready for the next challenge. I'm just going to click on that because I want to see what they're getting into right here. Yeah. Oh, some more ISPF editor features, lots of stuff. Oh, doing line changes. This is when you really hit the rubber meets the road. This is stuff where if you mention that you did this kind of stuff around a sysprog as you're like trying out for a job, they're like, oh, you know those commands? You know how to do a block command? You know how to do a replace? All right.
Right.
Let's give this person a try. I think we've got 5 minutes. This would probably be a pretty good point to stop. and talk a little bit about why people should be so motivated to finish part one of Master the Mainframe contest.
Well, part one, for every student that registers for the contest and finishes part one before midnight, December 31st, New Year's Eve, midnight Eastern time, we will be donating to the UN World Food Program. So your part one completion will feed 2 children for a day. I think we're already up to 6,000 children fed.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we're going to be making an announcement about that pretty soon. And it's just a really great exposure for you, and it feeds from some children. So that's a great reason to do part one.
Yeah. And definitely try to tap into the Mainframe community on Slack. We're pretty active on Twitter. People will always be happy to help you there. Maybe not with like something that they know that it's a Master the Mainframe challenge and you're just trying to win the thing. But if you're having trouble understanding like why is this thing the way it is there another way to do this? I mean, we're always awake too. That's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah. So,
there's nothing like waking up at like 6 a.m. to find out that like a 30 response Twitter thread just happened of people discussing something about like VM.
I know, right? We have a lot of fun on Twitter. And so there's a bunch of places where you can connect with the Mainframe community. The Slack channel, a number of people have been asking me in the chat how to get access to the Master the Mainframe Slack. The link that we sent out in the confirmation emails the first month or two of the contest was auto-expired by Slack because they weren't able to handle the number of people using it. We didn't realize there was an upper limit.
Blew the doors
off. And so all of those links and all those old emails that I can't recall and update is no longer valid. So I finally got smart. And I made it's the IBM version of Bitly, so I can redirect it anytime I need to change the link. So you can always count on this. It's ibm.biz/mtm_Slack. And that's how you can join the Slack channel. That's the best place to go to get answers to your technical questions. But there's more. We also have a community for anybody that wants to just chat about Master the Mainframe, talk to mainframers, tell everybody about your events. That community, that's where I always have my T-shirt meme contest once a week. We give away a Legends of Z T-shirt. You don't happen to have one?
No, I don't.
I should have brought one in. So I'm giving away T-shirts once a week. To the meme or whatever challenge I feel like posting every Thursday. And that community is ibm.biz/MTM-user group, all one word. And then if you finish part 2, you'll get invited into an exclusive community that's really about helping you with your career development. Gotcha. And that's the Talent Lounge. And only people that have finished part 2 are allowed in there, and the employers and the mentors that want to give you advice, not just mainframe advice. They'll give you advice on anything about your career, like can somebody look at my resume and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
I'm also just getting a communication. Apparently, if you'd like to know more about Rex, and who doesn't? If you'd like to know more about Rex, Bill will be uploading next week a video teaching you how to create a quiz like the one in part 1 in Rex.
Oh, how much fun is that?
It's a lot of fun. That's what is that? It's next week.
Oh, Bill, you know what? Bill, if you put in your video, you can have people put their quizzes out there somewhere, and then we can share them in the community. I bet you people would love to see what sorts of crazy quizzes that people put together in Rex.
That'll
be fun.
You should do somebody should make like a choose your own adventure in Rex.
Yeah.
That is just an evergreen video. And
what's the last date for complete part 2? So all students have to finish by midnight Eastern time, New Year's Eve. And yes, Paul Newton and I and a few other volunteers will be in Slack on New Year's Eve. I will not tell you that I have a glass of champagne in my hand, but I probably will, while we're answering your questions, and we'll stay up all night and have a party and finish Master the Mainframe. If you're in the learning system, you have until the end of August 2020 because there's no prizes. The contest, we close it for prizes and judging in 14 days, 20 hours. There's a timer right there on the website. Thank you for the hint, Jeff. Now, I'm telling you guys because you're my friends who care enough to come on the webinar. I'm not going to post this and announce it yet. But you guys that care to see my fabulous hat and Jeff's beautiful face, get to know first. We do have a secret way of moving your work from the contest over to the learning system if you don't finish everything you need to earn the badges. So don't worry. Try to get as much done as you possibly can because you want to be eligible for those prizes. But if you don't get all the way through, you're not going to lose it. We'll help you save it and finish the work for the badges in the learning system.
I think that about covers it.
Yeah.
Everybody have a good time?
Yeah, I had fun. And Bill likes our Christmas clothes.
Thank you, Bill.
We did it just for you, Bill, because you're the best. And I have to tell you, my headband that keeps falling in my face.
That's not going to last much longer.
No,
after this,
it's not. As soon as this is off, it's coming off. I'm telling you.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been fun. Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
And just donate to Misty's Patreon or what do you SoundCloud. SoundCloud. All right. Thank you, everybody. Good luck with the contest, and we'll see you around.
Yep. Chat with us in Slack in the communities.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.